That Great Business Show, Ireland's best business podcast.
ThatGreatBusinessShow.com is brought to you by Facto Shaving Oil, the best anyone can get. Made in Ireland, sold worldwide.
Welcome to episode 115 of That Great Business Show, Ireland's best business podcast, posting on the 25th of November 2022. Fáilte, I am Conal O'Moran. Lots of comments on our LinkedIn page about Professor Martin Hayes of University of Limerick, who joined us on episode 114 with his plea for the country to follow the highly successful German apprenticeship model. He wants us to up our game in a big way to get apprenticeships brought back into the mainstream. A better educated workforce gets paid better and helps everyone's standard of living. Have a listen back to what Martin had to say, and do please join in the conversation on That Great Business Show page on LinkedIn. And this week, hire the best brains around, but only for the hours or days that you need them. From the West, we bring you two different companies. One, a company that turns your business ideas into physical products, and the other brings you the Power of Seven, a concept that could absolutely transform you and your business. And who brings you all of these great business insights? Well, Facto Shaving Oil does. It is gifting time, and Facto, the world's best shaving oil, is also the world's most affordable and desirable gift. One bottle can last a year. It's the ideal gift from a child to an adult. Buy it now on defactoshave.com.
Facto Shaving Oil, the ideal gift. One bottle lasts a year and they'll think of you every day.
And as always, I ask, do not like us. Please do not like us, but do share us. Press the share button on LinkedIn so the world will know you listen to quality podcasts. Of course, it's good for us too. You can also send the link on WhatsApp to your buddies in business. Now, your business could really use some extra brain power, but you can't actually afford a full-time person, especially a person of the seniority that you are looking for. However, there are so many great people who have retired or semi-retired from senior jobs who would still love just to keep a toe in the water or in the business areas that they know about and that they love. We have previously highlighted the Grey Matters network that was set up to connect businesses and brainpower for short-term contracts. The Grey Matters network has merged now with the Auxilia consultancy group, and they now offer a panel of over 700 people to choose from. And according to my next guest, one of their USPs is call us on a Friday and they will start on a Monday, which must be heavenly for those businesses currently in a pickle. Welcome to That Great Business Show, Paul Ryan, CEO of the Auxilia Group.
Thanks, Conal. Thanks very much. Delighted to be here, and already a user of Defacto, knowing Tom and the guys there in Pamex, so already converted. So,
and you are looking smooth, Paul.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Shaved this morning for you.
Auxilia and my pals at the Grey Matters Network, you merged. Why?
Yeah, well, we met the guys there this time last year, Christmas time, and we started having a conversation about their business and our business, and we were all trying to go. And we decided the best path forward for us was a merger rather than one buying the other out. We were all ready to keep going in the market, and we culturally really fitted as well when we sat down with Tony, Declan and Mick and myself, my own partner, Michael Broderick. And there was a really good fit there. We saw synergy because the guys were very good at placement in interim contract roles. We were very good at consultancy, and they had a totally different client base to what we had. So we felt we had a much broader offering then to bring to our clients, collective clients, and that's why we came together. So we merged 1st of April, was the new entity, Auxilia Group, and we're 7 months in now, and it's all good. We're all still talking, all still friends.
Well, true believers in That Great Business Show will remember that we had That Great Business Show, Tony Devine, on episode 1. Now, that is almost 2.5 years ago. So what people should know, if they haven't heard back or haven't remembered back that far, is that Grey Matters Network, what they do, or were doing until they merged, but they're still doing it if you follow me, is that you can go and find yourself a finance director or maybe a digital transformation expert or somebody who is really well experienced, and they pop into your business for an hour, a day, a week, a month, or a year, correct?
Correct. And that was the big thing for us when we started talking. The common word was experience. The people that they had on their book and the people that we had on our book were highly experienced people. And when we sat down, we said, that's what we're selling. That's what we're providing to our clients and current clients, new clients. It's experienced people, been there, done that, know how to do it, land and give value straight away. And that's what we do.
What I'm not familiar, though, with, because I haven't met you before, was what was the Auxilia group doing? And kind of, you say consultancy, but my lordy, that can cover a multitude.
Yeah, and we were, in fairness, we were doing a multitude. We had about 50 associates on our book that were working with us in various degrees, and they had come from broad experience, broad sectoral experience, and
such
broad
as?
functional. Yeah, they were finance people, supply chain experts. You know, they'd come from food sector, they'd come from pharma sector, they'd, you know, real variety of sectors. And I suppose that's one of the big things for us now when we look. There's very few sectors we don't have people in, and there's very few functional skill sets that we don't have people in. And we've a lot of really good generalists as well, some really experienced CEO, MD, GM type people who can turn their hand to any type of business. Basically, they have a broad skill set. So it's quite varied. So we have specialists and we have generalists in our talent pool.
And where are you seeing the big demand?
Yeah, it's I suppose you always have finance. You know, every business kind of needs that. It's about the numbers and so on. And that's my own background.
And explain that, though, because what you were telling me before we came on air here is that people need a finance director type person, but can't actually afford a finance director type person.
Yeah, and or they can afford it, but it's a more junior person that doesn't have the experience. And I think what you find is, and my own career has been consulting as well since I came out of corporate life, and it's you're looking for that accessibility to that experience to work on the key stuff. Whereas if you have people that are in a job, they end up working on everything, the low value, the middle value and the high value and stuff they shouldn't be working on. Whereas if you bring in an experienced person at a higher rate because they're experienced, but you're going to have them deployed on stuff that's really important to your business and very key deliverables and very set things. And they can mentor other people then in your business. So we try and empower people then in the organisation to learn and develop them, but they have a bouncing board of someone more senior to be able to go to. And, people buy that in, and as I say, 1 day a week, 2 days a month, 3 days a month, depending on what they need. And we help them on that journey. And ultimately, you want that business to be strong enough financially to be able to afford that resource themselves. And then we help them find that successor, if you like.
And typically, what is the length of contract people are doing? Or is there such a thing? Yeah,
there is. I suppose the placements, it's normally a 6 to 12 month contract, if you like. Some renew. We have people that maybe 3 years in an organisation now, and that suits some companies, it suits some individuals as well. But consultancy can be anything from 1 day of advisory to 5 days to ad hoc over 12 months on a retainer basis, if you like. So it really varies. It depends on what the client needs and what they're trying to achieve, and that's the most important thing. We try and understand what they want to achieve, and then we put a cost-effective and the right resource solution in for them. Do
you know what I found very unusual? Maybe I wonder why it is. You've only 20% women on the panel of 700 plus that you have.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversation around this ourselves, and when we launched Auxilia Group post the merger, it was a topic. We had a panel discussion, and and that's a growing number for us, which I'm delighted to say. And we're constantly looking to recruit really strong senior female people into the organisation. And our staff actually in the office is primarily female as well. So it's not like we're a male orientated organisation, but when you're looking at the experience, a lot of people have either left the workforce to have families, which is a natural thing, or they end up being the carers for elderly parents, if you like. So their ability to play in the workforce, that we feel is maybe part of the reason, but I think more and more people are now moving towards a more flexible working life, particularly after COVID. People are making choices about their career. They don't want to be commuting every day. They want more flexibility. They want more variety in their work. They may be trying to get that balance of, working 3 to 4 days a week, if you like. And this is where people are choosing these type of careers. And traditionally, maybe a lot of people would say, hey, I'll try and do something out of retirement. I'll keep tipping away. But actually, people are making this career choice now to be a contract employee, if you like, and self-employed, and enjoying the variety and flexibility of it and what that gives them,
Whet their appetite and tell me typically what is the value of a daily, a per diem, as we used to say, a daily rate in that industry or those industries.
Yeah, it varies, and there's a consultancy report done on this actually in terms of what it looks like. But it varies by sector, it varies by the length of the engagement, it varies by the skill set that you're looking for, it varies by the marketplace and how many of those skill sets are available, if you like. So there's a bit of economic supply and demand, but we have people on rates of €500 a day up to about 1,800, and we have some that can command maybe $2,000, if you like. And anything beyond that, you want to be really delivering good value for the client. Obviously, that's the most important thing for us, that it's not so much about the day rate, it's about the value that's been brought. So are we helping you grow your business? Are we helping you save money? Are we helping you expand? Are we helping train your team? Are we delivering outcomes for you that are really important, and that's the most important thing for us. It's the value piece.
Are any of your clients doing international work? Because nowadays nobody cares where you're based.
Yeah, we've worked in the UK and we've worked in Europe. We have people based in Europe as well. The majority of our people are Irish based, if you like, the island of Ireland. But some of our clients are expanding. They're working in the UK. We have UK businesses trying to set up in Ireland that are obviously, coming to us to try and get boots on the ground as well, our international businesses. So we're working with a whole variety of companies. Yeah.
How are you getting recognition or recognised? You're not the only ones in this space. And of course, you're going to come on to a fabulous podcast like this. But what's the grind? Where's the real action? What I'm thinking of is here for companies listening is, where are you spending your hard-earned to get Auxilia mentioned and or recognised?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is the network of people that we have. So with 700 associates, like you can take that and multiply it in terms of LinkedIn connections, if you like. So if every one of them has 1,000, that's a lot of people that our people know, and it's a resource that even if they're working themselves and contract, they're obviously not all employed through us at every moment in time.
Do you tell that 700 to go and tell the world about Auxilia?
Absolutely. And,
good man, I like that.
we commercially look after them in that regard as well, because
what does that mean?
Well, so if they're out there, like they're flying a flag themselves, they're consulting, sometimes, and all of us have had this experience where you're asked, hey, I need a hand with this, can you help me? And sometimes it'll be, hey, I don't have the skill set to do that, or I don't have the capacity, I'm too busy, or actually I only want to work 3 days a week, so no, I can't. And the conversation stops there. Whereas now these people are able to go, actually, I can't, but I'm part of this organisation that can help you, if you like. And, we then sit down and have a conversation with the client. And equally, if they're in a position to help, but they don't have all the skill sets that the client needs, then they'll come back and they'll have that conversation as well. So we can put reinforcements in with them to manage a project. And that's,
where are your gaps, as in Auxilia's gaps? Who are you looking for primarily or particularly?
Yeah, so there's certainly a lot of IT projects out there that companies are trying to move forward. So really good PMs, project managers, that's certainly always a challenge. The team always say if we can get 4 more of those, there's a demand for them, if you like, but they're hard to get.
Did you say 4?
Yeah, no, 4, but 44 in some cases.
That's what
depending.
I was wondering.
There's definitely a challenge there, and companies are looking for that skill set, if you like, and as I say, to find the right people. So yeah, we're absolutely looking for really good skilled project managers, and that's the current thing at the moment, if you like, that would be challenging for us to fill.
The downturn in some of the larger US companies here must be useful for you, correct?
Yeah, and I think so what's happening is people were in roles, and they're now coming out. They're trying to make a career choice in terms of where they go. They've huge experience,
and so they don't want to work for the man anymore.
Then they're coming to talk to us to see what what we offer and what that option is. And as I said, I think people are seeing this now as a really strong career option and next step. And there's a lot of, I suppose, some of our panel, we were talking earlier about the age profile, if you like. So we've some people in their mid-70s who are just full of energy and full of knowledge, and there's people all down from that. And, we've people now that are coming out of corporate in their early 50s, and they're trying to decide they're too young to retire. They're too much energy, there's too much to give. So they're all looking now to see what sort of career do I have next? What's my next stage? And, so that's where we're finding really good talent, if you like, that are making themselves available in a different way to companies. And, so it's exciting. I've been blown away actually, because obviously when we merged, there was 700 people there, and you're looking, I can't get to know all of them in day one, so it takes time to understand the capability and the experience of these people. But every day I'm blown away by the talent pool that we have, if you like. And
do you actually meet with them?
Yeah, no, we meet with them. Yeah, and
do you physically, as in Paul Ryan, do you meet with them? 700 people.
Yeah, well, on a case by case basis, because if I was to go out meeting them all, it would take me a year, if you like, and some. So I'm meeting them as opportunities arise, or as projects are scaled up, or as we're placing people. They put their hand up to say, I'm interested in that particular opportunity, and then we just go talk to them. So I'm getting to meet them that way.
As usual, we're going to run out of time, so I have to get to it. First of all, who are you looking for, and how do they get you?
Yeah, so we're auxiliagroup.ie. The office is there. It's manned. We're based in Naas in Kildare, so handy for people coming out of Dublin. We're on the N7 for people going to Dublin, and all our contact details are up there. So we're happy to talk to anyone in terms of their needs. If we can't help, we'll point them in the right direction. So we don't take anything on if we're not the right solution. But we do have other partners and other people that we'll always try and give people direction in terms of where they can go for a solution.
I have to ask, what is the more bizarre or the most bizarre offer of business or companies or skill that you've had?
Yeah, well, we did have, and it wasn't me personally, but we did have a hypnotist ring us to see if we could take them on their...
Sorry. So old... A hypnotist?
A hypnotist, yes, yeah. So
who's going to use? I mean, I'm sure there's lots of uses for hypnotists.
I'm sure the entertainment industry or whatever, but I suppose it's not our core competency, I would say that. But so if anybody is looking for a hypnotist out there, we do know one who has spoken to us. So
anything else unusual? That's right up there.
Yeah, no, it's up there. Yeah, and I think for us there, it's the key thing for us is all the associates here. We're kind of a no-nonsense consultancy. We're a no-nonsense provider in the sense that we like to get stuff done. We can absolutely do the advisory, but we're more than happy to roll our sleeves up and get stuck in and deliver for people. And we're all about advancing business capability. So what we're saying to our clients is, you can see us as an extension of your resources in your business. Use us as you need us, and turn the experience on and off in terms of developing your business, growing your business, or doing what you need to do. And that, if people see us like that, we'll help them advance their business through our capability. And that's what we do. And
you are delighted to have said that twice now, because you're a marketing person. You said, I've got to make sure I get that strap line out.
Yeah, key.
Advancing business capabilities. Is that what you just said?
That's what I just said, absolutely. Yeah.
Final question to you, Paul. Well done. Your marketing person is going to love you. The final question to you, because we asked this of all of our guests, who would Paul Ryan hire in a heartbeat?
Yeah, I think, for me, I'm a runner. That's sort of my passion. So
he ran the New York Marathon a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a bit slower than planned, but it was a hot day and so on. But yeah, I just have a huge admiration for Eliud Kipchoge. He's the man that broke the 2 hours world record holder. So disciplined and such a promoter of health and running, if you like. So he'd be a guy, if I was around him now, I'd just be continuously inspired, if you like. So yeah, and
he could be your pace setter.
Well, that's it. And there's a lot of correlations in terms of the business to running and marathon running, if you like, because it's a journey. And I was talking to a client this morning who's on a fundraising journey, and I'm saying you got to pace yourself. You can't do it all in one day, and you got to surround yourself with the expertise. So in marathon running, you need your coach, your nutritionist, your masseuse, your physiotherapist, if you like. And business is the same. Who's my marketeer? Who's my finance person? Who's going to look after my supply chain? Who's going to look after my customer service, my biz dev? So surround yourself with the experts and you'll do all right. And I suppose that's what we provide, is that experience and expertise.
And I have to thank you, Paul, for mentioning a coach, because I'm going to take the opportunity to reference and to commend and to congratulate my own nephew, Phelim Kelly, who won the award just the other day for Coach of the Year, Irish Coach of the Year. He's got a stable of guys that is, I don't know what he does to them. He runs after them with hot metal or something to get them moving faster. But he's some boy, and absolutely gorgeous guy. If anybody knows him, Phelim Kelly, my nephew, he said proudly.
Well done, Phelim. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Before that, though, that with voice there, that was Paul Ryan. He is CEO of Auxilia Group. And please, Paul, come back. You're at 700 at the moment. What do you think you might be in, say, in a year, 2 years?
Yeah, for us, it's not, that's not a target for us. It's just having the right expertise available for the clients, if you like. And it's you know, they're not all available all day, every day. So it's about just finding and using that network to find the right solutions for people. And you know, but as I say, certainly we do want more females in our mix, certainly. And you know, I'm more concerned around growing our client base and so on. But we have plenty of resources there at the moment. So let's deploy them into clients that need this experience. That's where we're at. That's our priority at the moment. Yeah.
Paul Ryan, thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Thanks, Colin. Thanks so much for having us. Delighted to be here. Thank you.
Facto Shaving Oil, the world's best shaving oil. Made in Mayo, sold worldwide.
Everyday accounting can be a bit of a drama for SMEs. However, BigRedCloud.com takes the drama away with its simple and easy to use cloud-based accounting and payroll software designed for SME owners. Raise and send invoices, manage VAT reports and obligations, run management reports, link directly to Irish banks, automatically import purchase invoices, and so much more. All with 5-star customer support. BigRedCloud.com, 100% Irish owned and a proud member of Team GBS.
Facto Shaving Oil, made only from natural oils. Nothing nasty on your skin.
According to my next guest, the connection between pure design and manufacturing is broken. Siobhán Ní Chofaigh's company, Galway-based MinTek Circuits, has created a marketplace for hardware developers to source and buy their prototypes, giving them time to do what they do best, and that is to design. Her plan is to build the go-to site for hardware developers, designers and innovators, giving them access to global manufacturers. And Siobhán Ní Chofaigh, fáilte to That Great Business Show.
Gur míle maith a chonal.
Thanks to fáilte return show. Your business is most intriguing because it's kind of like, I'd almost say I don't really understand it because it is completely different. Discuss.
So what we do is we help people make prototypes. Whatever idea you have, it doesn't matter if it's software or hardware, you have to make a prototype of it. In our case, we kind of concentrate on the electronic side. And so when I said there that manufacturing or the connection between design and manufacturing was broken, what I meant was when I started, I studied in Kevin Street, I did electronic engineering, I ended up in a job in Carrow, Tellamara, and when I was designing. And when I had a question in engineering or I was designing something, I just walked downstairs and talked to the engineering manager. And now your engineering manager is possibly in another continent, never mind in another building. And so when we started MinTek, the idea was to help those design engineers build design for manufactured prototypes, good prototypes, at the most cost-effective way, as opposed to having a really, really well-paid design engineer faffing around the world looking for capacitors or printed circuit boards off the internet. There was one particular engineer, he worked for Microsoft Research, and we project managed Stuart's projects. So he did the designs, and we got them built in the most cost-effective and fast way.
Now, imagine that you're talking to somebody who knows absolutely nothing about which you talk. Oh, sorry, you are talking to somebody who does absolutely nothing about what you're talking about. How does it work? I mean, okay, so a man, a woman says, I want to build a new Fitbit watch or something. Mm-hmm. Talk me through what part of the problem you and MinTek Circuits are fixing. I know what I want. I want to put in, I don't know, pictures of cars or something onto a Fitbit, something like that. How do you then help me?
So basically, we help you build the very first one, and the very first one that's actually got engineering files, design files with it. And we talk to a lot of people like you, Conal, because as we've developed the business, we've gone more and more into design ourselves. And a lot of people come to us asking to help us design their idea. And sometimes it's very simple. When I tell them the kind of costs that are involved and the timeline, they go, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And they walk away. And that's helpful.
Oh, well, absolutely.
It's a good thing to do.
You're kind of gently saying, would you go away? You're wasting your time.
Well, we're gently saying how much it's going to cost, because people are of an opinion that, some things don't cost a lot of money.
What do they think a design might cost, and what do you say it's going to cost you that amount?
Well, I think because of the proliferation, if that's the right word, of the likes of Arduinos and Raspberry Pis, which are mini computers that you can use to design.
This is fantastic.
Stuff
I have no
at
idea
home.
what you're talking about.
So basically, you buy a Raspberry Pi, it costs like €100 or something like that, and you can design and you can make that into a design, and you can code. So there was a guy in college with me, and at home he could tell what the temperature was in his sitting room when he was away from the house, I should say, because he hooked this all up in his house. But that's not designed for manufacture. That's just designed for you to make in your house. To design for manufacture is a different ballgame. And so because they're used to a Raspberry Pi that costs €100, they think it might cost €1,000. But what it is, it's about 100 hours maybe of an engineer's time. It's materials, it's somebody putting something together. So it costs more than that. So in our case, a typical design would be somewhere between 25 and 35,000 euro. And, some people don't think that's a lot of money, especially if you have a company and you have a market. But if you don't have a company and a market, it's a lot of money to take a chance on something or a punt. So that's one side of what we do. But that wouldn't make us any money if we told everybody their idea, was going to cost that much money. So we also have people who come to us who have an idea. They just don't know where to start. I'm sure I've had a trillion of them. I'm actually an electronics engineer, but I'm not a designer. I'm sure you've had a trillion ideas and you kind of go, God, the world really wants this.
A better mousetrap.
A better mousetrap. And you had it, you're out running, you're out walking, you're just sitting down having a glass of wine. And well, maybe sometimes when we have glasses of wine, that's where these ideas come from. And you can come to us and talk about it. And for the cost, we start a design process where we talk about what you want to build, how you want to build it. Is that the best technology for it? This is the better mousetrap idea. Maybe we might say somebody's doing that already and all we have to do is like revamp an off-the-shelf product. And you end up with a product. It's not the most beautiful product you have ever seen in your life, but it works and you can go and you can test it. You can throw your software onto it, or you can get some investment based on it. And investors nowadays, especially people like Enterprise Ireland, they really need you to be further down the road. Like they don't give money out anymore just for an idea. Unless you're in the medical world. They seem to give the medical people loads of money. But if you're not in the medical world, they like to see a hard copy of your idea in their hand, something that's working and that's testing.
How many people a week, a month, a year do you get coming to you with ideas? Are there loads of people out there with fantastic ideas? Well,
we probably get about one a week, but it's very interesting. I was involved, or I'm a member of this Going for Growth organisation.
Paula, we love Paula Fitzsimons.
And during Going for Growth, so you know the way it works. It's a table of women come together once a month. You have a mentor who directs us. We talk about our issues, what's going on. And the most recent one I was on was Continuing the Momentum. Amazing bunch of women. And from that, there are 2 design ideas that we're working on. I also was sitting down with someone at a table. She's involved in entertainment. Another design idea has come out of that. Like, everybody has ideas, but our issue always is this, is how do we find those people, or how do they find us? As in, you can't ring up a company and go, can I talk to the woman with all the great ideas, please? Or you can't ring a company and say, can I talk to the guy with the soldering iron, please? They have to find us, and we have to figure out how they can find us.
Which is a lovely way of maybe asking the question of you, how do they find you?
Referral. There's a lot of referral. I've been in this industry a long time, so a lot of customers were people I've known from previous lives. Referral. And then just potluck. I think somebody just puts in design. Like we had a situation last week where we do work with Meta in Cork, or Facebook, and somebody from Meta in Seattle got in touch last week. He didn't know we worked with Cork. So he obviously just plugged in design maybe onto their AVL, their approved vendor list or something. I have to ask him. I've been away for a few days. So, and then the next thing we're working on now is we're working at kind of, I won't call them products, but they're kind of pre-products or pre-prototypes. And our idea is to, that 25 to 35,000 I talked about, is to bring that down to less than 15,000, so that everybody should be, like, if you really have an idea that you think is a good idea, you can kind of figure out a way of getting 10 to 15,000 to build it. But it's really hard to get 35,000 to build it. And so we're working on some R&D ourselves. They're not products, they're kind of pre-prototypes. So to make the prototype cycle shorter, faster, and therefore less expensive.
Do you know what it sounds like to me? Just what goes on in my head. That must be the ultimate gift to somebody, is that he or she has got a big idea and that you actually go and kind of quasi or near develop it for them. And so if they're retiring, if they've got a big birthday or something, you walk in and you say, Michael, Mary, there's your idea. And there you go. Now you can actually go into the gift business.
We call it the birthday page.
Something along those lines. Are you international?
Yes, we are. We've customers in the UK, in Germany, in the US and in France.
And how are they finding you? Again, searching, or
again, it was searching. We also have a relationship with RS Components, which is one of the large component companies. It used to be called Radionics, if anybody out there is as old as I am, and probably not many. And they, sometimes people find us through the RS site. So we work with Rolls-Royce in Berlin. We work with Toshiba in the UK, Microsoft in the UK, and a couple of French companies. I
drool about companies like yours, is that they're just little diamonds hidden away. How large is MinTek?
We're just 6 people.
And yet you're dealing with huge work. You've just dropped, oh yeah, Facebook in Seattle or Meta in Seattle. Oh yeah, Rolls-Royce in Germany. Oh yeah. I think that's pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, and I'm very proud of them, I have to admit, and I do love to drop their names as much as I can. But I'm equally proud of, the kind of, when somebody has an idea and we help them build it and we help it work, and they go off, and unfortunately they often stumble at the investment stage. But that said, I used to work for Siemens years ago, and we had an expression in Siemens, which I always thought was a Dublin expression, but it was actually a Siemens Germany expression. And it was, if Siemens only knew what Siemens did. And it would be then a weekly or a monthly management meeting, I think, where each manager would talk about the things that happened in their division. And, Siemens was medical and energy and blah, blah. And I always say, if Ireland only knew what Ireland did. I just heard today, I was down with a design company down in Wicklow, Human Touch, and they have a customer called Zeus, based in, they think, Kildare or Athlone. Now, only somebody from Wicklow could confuse Kildare and Athlone, but anyway, they make scooters. And I was in Berlin a week ago.
Yeah.
I never heard of them.
Yeah.
And I was in Berlin looking at Zeus scooters the whole time, actually jumping out of the way of Zeus scooters, because people on scooters are kind of dangerous. But they there's a company in Ireland making scooters. They don't sell any of them here. They're all in Germany and in France and wherever else they are. The guys down in Wicklow were working on some design work with them. Airgen in Galway, like the country's full of incredible, amazing companies.
But don't tell me now, they make the rotors, isn't that right?
No, they're medical. They make devices for anesthetics.
Isn't there another company down there that makes composites?
Oh, that's Aero Composites. They're in Crowborough started that company. Correct, yeah. And every corner in Ireland has an exciting company doing exciting things.
We're going to run out of time, so I have to pick your brains for a couple of things. One of them, tell me some of the weird and particularly brilliant design ideas that have come to you. The ones you're allowed to talk about, obviously.
Well, we're working with a guy, and he has come up with a way of improving people's golf swing. So as you swing, you notice that you've gone, I don't play golf, so I'm not very good at explaining it.
I can tell you the very second that you said that, all over Ireland, that people have just switched up at the podcast and says, shut up, hang on. Something is they're all worried about their golf swing.
It's incredible. It's an incredible device, and he's now just on the cusp of getting some investment
and
for it.
And you worked on that?
We designed it for him, yeah. And it pulled in things like quotidians and stuff that I don't even have a clue what they're talking about, but it's to do with...
I don't play golf either.
XY factors and Z and what plane we're in.
So go again, give you another one. This is fantastic.
Another design. Well, we worked with a company here in Ireland called Joule, and this excited me because we reverse engineered something. So they had a board, they had a product. Joule do the cylinders for the heating systems, the hot water cylinders. And they also are the distributors for Samsung heat pumps. So this board connected the two of them, and we helped reverse engineer it. And now they've gone off and they're building these on their own, and they've upped the ante of it, and they put Wi-Fi on it and various other things. Let me see, weird and wonderful. Flex rigid boards. We've had some boards where they're actually just bending over themselves to go into wearables for people. We're looking at a really interesting soft electronics project at the moment where we put electronics inside a pad and hermetically seal it so it can be used in kind of the medical world.
You are busy.
Well, we're busy.
And you are hiring.
We are hiring. We're looking for a very, very, very good people person. A workplace manager, was the title, based in the office in Galway, because I'm trying to get out more to see people and to talk about projects with people, and that's kind of hard to do if I'm supposed to be in the office as well. And we have a young team, and we'd like to kind of develop the culture more.
It's also small but perfectly formed. Have you got ambitions to really grow it?
That is the plan, yeah. The plan is to go from where we are now.
That's why you're on going for growth.
That's why we're on going for growth and continuing the momentum. The plan is to grow it. I really think there's a huge potential, not just in Ireland, but globally for the company, because there are people who make printed circuit boards, there are people who design, but there's very few companies that do both or do all three together. And I think with our new prototype ideas, we could get a lot more attention than we're getting right now.
And why did you give up rock and roll, the top end electronic engineering to go and do this?
Well, in truth, I had cancer. I had cancer about 2008.
Well, you're looking very, very healthy for somebody with cancer.
It's not there. It better not be there anymore. And I was working I was doing a master's, and I was working, and I've always worked for not always, but I've worked for a lot of American companies, a swipe of a brush or a swipe of a pen, and somebody says, why have we got an office in Ireland? Let's get rid of Ireland. And I just got fed up of it. And I had been made redundant again. I think I've been made redundant 3 times, which is not uncommon in tech. But at the same time, you're kind of sitting in the airport at 4:30 in the morning going, really? Is this what it's all about? So I do sit in the airport at 4:30 in the morning now, but I sit in the airport for me.
For you, and I love that.
And for more interesting projects. Every day is a different project. Every half a day is a different project.
Our final question that we ask all of our lovely interviewees is, who would Siobhán Ní Chofaigh hire in a heartbeat?
Well, if money wasn't something we needed and this person needed to contribute money to the company, I said I'd hire Hannah Fry. Hannah Fry she's a kind of a celebrity mathematician. And she does super documentaries about maths, which sounds kind of mad, but she makes maths so interesting. And she herself has gone through her own cancer story where she had cervical cancer, and she did a fascinating documentary on that. And she did it by maths. She kind of said literally, for everybody that has cervical cancer, once it gets to a certain stage, they put you through the whole chemotherapy thing. And she said the chances of coming out of at that stage were, well, let's say 40%. And she said, if you offered me 40% on something, I wouldn't take it unless it was cancer. And she just did it so cleverly. And the reason she likes maths is the reason I think anybody likes anything is when she was young, nobody made her afraid of it. Her mother used to give her maths puzzles. Mother's Irish, but I don't know where she's from. And she used to give her maths puzzles during the summer holidays.
She must be one of the Ulster Fries. God, I'll take myself out and kill myself. It's okay.
And she did that, and I believe that's why people are scared of subjects in school, is because somebody at some stage told them, you can't do maths, it's hard. Irish is hard. Gaelic is hard.
Anyway, yeah, we both agreed on that one.
And there you go.
One final thing, because I just noted on all of the notes that you sent me, is that you are a huge proponent of particularly women in STEM, which we're just talking about, but you're actually talking about STEAM, because I'm a huge believer in this one. It's not just science, technology and all. The A is for?
Arts.
Arts, because that's so important, the creative element within that.
Of course, yeah, absolutely, which is what design is all about.
So anybody who wants to join your happy team in Galway, you have to work in Galway in the office?
Yeah.
Okay. The company is MinTek Circuits.
That's correct.
Based in?
Furbo, just outside Galway.
And the woman that you apply to is Siobhán Ní Chofaigh. Siobhán, gur míle maith go teacht that great business show.
Gur míle maith hain, bhí sean spéisiúil.
Thinking of travel? If so, make sure to make De Facto, the world's best shaving oil, your choice of travel companion. A 25 millilitre bottle of De Facto means no hassle at airports, no bulky cans to carry, and the guarantee of the world's best shave. DeFactoShave.com.
All that great business show advertisers are Team GBS approved. Back them.
That great business show.
We love your recommendations for guests, so please do keep them coming. This week, both De Facto Shave founder Tom Murphy and Cormac Carney, CEO of Castlebar-based Pamex, recommended my next guest, Barry Walsh, former design engineer and founder of the Power of Seven. The Power of Seven is when 7 non-competing business owners meet every 6 to 8 weeks in a confidential, professional environment to exchange ideas and experiences in a structured group format. Participants work on overcoming their most critical issues in business, identify growth opportunities within the 3 Power of 7 or PO7 pillars that are self, family and business, and develop powerful new insights for an integrated vision of success. Barry, you're laughing at me. I'm reading your stuff, not my stuff.
I know, it's great. I don't have to do anything.
Barry Walsh, welcome to That Great Business Show.
Thank you, Conal. Thank you.
The Power of 7, it seems to work. It's worked for those people who recommended you, Tom and Cormac. Why does it work? How does it work? What is it? Take the floor.
Right. Yes, it works for Cormac and Tom, and actually Tom has 4 of his staff in Power 7 groups, so maybe he's the best person to ask why it works. Why does it work? I think it works because people will listen to their peers more than anybody else, because their peers know what it's like to be in the shoes of each other. You're
going to use another SH word there.
No, I keep it clean, Conal, now, right? So yeah, they know what it's like. They've been there, or they've been somewhere similar. And I think the real reason why it works is because people get objectivity on their own situation that they can't get themselves because they're in it. So it's those different perspectives. You know yourself, for example, how easy it is if I kind of tell you I have a problem and you can see it very objectively and you can see what my problem is and you can probably tell me what my solution is. But for some reason, I can't do that, a lot of the time.
Now, I mentioned deliberately that you were an engineer by trade, by training, but you gave it up to set up the Power of 7. So there's a business in this. And from what I understand, it's a very successful business. So talk to me about the business end.
Yeah. So, the business model is that I have 7 in each group. They pay an annual membership. We meet every 6 weeks.
So I'll hold you there. Where did you come up with this idea?
I wish I did. No, it was an accident.
What do you mean?
It was an accident. Literally, I didn't design it. So the story behind its birth was I was working with one individual and who I really looked up to. It was real sort of an inspiration for me as a business person and as an individual. And he was in his 40s and he went stale. He lost his mojo and I couldn't seem to do anything to help him. And I was walking away, and in a last-ditch effort, I thought, what about if I surrounded him with other business owners? Maybe they could help him kind of move.
But where did you get that idea of surrounding him with other business owners?
That's a really good idea. I do not know where I get that idea. I suppose when you're desperate, you kind of, I really liked
anything,
yeah, I really liked this guy, and we had a very good relationship. And you do hate walking away from somebody, walking away from a customer, so you try to do everything you can. So I just rang up a few other guys, and we got together for a meal 18 years ago. And at the end of the meal, there was so much talk, and at the end of the meal, the guys were saying, when is the next meeting?
Wow.
And I didn't know there was one.
Wow.
And so we met, they said, well, can we meet again? Because this has been very useful. So they met 2 months later, and they met another 2 months, and they've been meeting since 18 years ago.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And that is your business.
Yeah, and then what actually happened, this is the real story, is that they said to me, so I was doing this pro bono because I just doing the right thing to do. And so it was going on for 2 years. And then the whole ethos of Power 7 is honesty, openness, and so on. And I said to them, guys, I do this for a living as well. So it's, a little bit compromising, and I just put it out there. So I was away for the next meeting, and they had a meeting and told me afterwards they spent a lot of the time talking about the group. So their conclusion was, when I came back, was, why don't you join us as a member of the group? Because you've got a business and this has been really helpful for us. And why don't you do this commercially? And, if you had charged us a fee, we would have paid it. So the deal was that they said, we'll help you get your first group together, which they did. And that was my first commercial group.
Wow. It's kind of a real organic growth.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not really innovative at all. Like, I don't.
I know, but you are, because you came up with the idea. You were, and I'll say it again, an engineer.
Yeah.
You had nothing to do with this stuff.
Yeah.
This is kind of soft stuff.
Well, I was an engineer that evolved. It's not so much like I was an engineer and I gave it up to do this. I was an engineer that ended up in a leadership position, and I was managing people. And I got fascinated with people, because I worked for the number one packaging manufacturer in the world. We were very wealthy, and you could solve any engineering problem with enough money and enough people, but you couldn't solve people problems with money. You had to do it differently. So that really took my interest, and I did an MBA, and then I kind of got into the kind of more people and leadership development space.
And tell me about some of your success stories.
Yeah, well, I met one of my success stories last night. So I was down in Wexford last night. I was doing a Power 7 group today. And, I like to keep in touch. And I like to say, my groups they're like professional friends. That's the kind of relationship I have with them. And this guy, because he lives in the area, I rang him up, said, are you free Wednesday night? So we met up, and he was telling me last night, he's 59. He's financially secure for the rest of his life. And he's not working. He actually, I can't say who he works for, but he works for a government organisation, and his salary is €1 a month. And the reason for that is that he just has to be working for somebody to help them in what he's doing. So basically, he's following his purpose that he discovered in the Power 7, which is to develop that part of the country that he lives in, the southeast of Wexford. And his goal is to create 1,000 jobs. And he has no other motive other than, I want my part of the country to prosper, and it's been neglected. And
how lovely. That is cool.
Yeah.
Is there I know so little about the Power 7, and I'm just probing. Is it kind of a cult?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of good things going on.
That was a good answer.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things going on that you probably don't know about. And, that was one of my reasons for accepting the invitation today, is to get the word out there, because, I see so much benefit, people, and it gets so much recommendation. Like, the only marketing I do is a bit of awareness marketing on LinkedIn. Otherwise, all my customers come from referrals.
And how many of these groups have you got?
I have 9 at the moment. And
could you do 99?
Well, yes, I can, but with my new business model, which 3 years ago, I started to bring Power 7 into organizations. So that was what I was doing today, actually. One of the country's largest medtech companies, I was with their senior leadership team. So they're in their second year of their peer group. So the leadership team are in a group of, they're not 7, they're 11 actually. But
how does that work? You're not getting honest opinions.
They are. You wouldn't believe what they were talking about this morning. Especially when you cultivate relationships in a safe environment with good ground rules and good professional facilitation.
People say that, but they still, I can understand the external one where the doctor, the lawyer, the whatever are all giving bare knuckle stuff. But inside an organisation, if the boss, he or she says, oh, I like orange, nobody else is going to say, no, I hate orange.
Yeah, I can understand how you'd have that view. Right. But I think, a lot of it is down to, like a lot of things, and this is why my biggest passion is leadership. It's down to the leader in this organization. And it's a woman, and, she's probably the most humble CEO that I know. She's probably one of the most successful CEOs that I know. And she isn't like that. She doesn't want everybody to say it's orange. She wants diversity of opinion. She wants people to challenge. In fact, we were only talking, we had breakfast together before the meeting, and she was talking about one of the guys that left, and I said, are you bothered? And she said, actually, he was a real challenge to me, but actually I would have loved for him to stay on because that was good for me to have that challenge, So it does work. Again, I think if you get the setup right and you get you develop a culture of confidentiality and so on. It actually has amazed me how well it works internally in organizations.
And when you were designing this, where did you look for inspiration? Because what I'm hearing is it's mentorship,
coaching
on
each
speed.
other.
A little bit of speed, as in like 7 mentors.
Exactly, in that sense,
Or
speed.
6.
Yeah. Well, me as well, because I
Do you sit on each of them?
I do, yeah, and I participate and I contribute as well as facilitate.
That's a lot of work on your part, is it?
No, it's fine. I mean, I enjoy it. Like it's and people want me to contribute. They don't want me to sit there, just like a guide on the side and not saying anything. So no, I partake in the conversations in the same way as everybody else. But what was your question there? Second, just before that.
About the groups of 7 and about being on speed, that it's mentorship really, and how did you design your version of Para 7?
It just, it evolved. I think it's like anything. There's very little that's novel nowadays. You kind of research and find out, good things going on elsewhere, and you kind of put them together. I have, so like the key invitation for every Para 7 meeting is to bring your most pressing strategic challenge. And we have different ways of processing that. And I would have developed from scratch a lot of those processes. I'm a professional facilitator. I train in it. I'm in my own Power 7 group as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because if I'm not doing what I'm giving to other people...
Does it work?
Of course.
Well, you're not going to tell me otherwise, I suppose.
Exactly.
Success. How do you measure success?
Yeah, good question. The guys measured their own success. So we have 3 stages of every meeting. The first one is around mindset. So I do something with them on mindset. And the second stage is what we call the update. So it's an update since their last meeting. And that's a little audit that they do just on themselves in those 3 pillars: self, family, and business. And the first thing they do is they give themselves a score out of 10 in terms of what's my satisfaction in this area since the last time we met. And that's the measure. It's their subjective measure. Obviously there's tangibles like the guy I talked about last night who sold his business for, I think, 49 million.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's very welcome to come here anytime he wants.
Yeah, we can arrange that. Yeah, he's a very interesting guy to talk to. So, you hear about all the tangibles, but ultimately it's how people feel is really important. So if I'm scoring, like our objective is to get people up to 80% plus on each of those 3 pillars. And in my opinion, that's a feeling of achievement. It's a feeling of success. That's what I define as success, is when you're really satisfied, as opposed to I've bought a house worth so much or I've made so much money, because all the people with those houses and money, they'd all be happy and they'd all be successful, but they're not.
It's a business, so you charge. How much does this brilliance cost?
Yeah, 2,400 is the annual membership.
Okay.
It's about 200 a month, yeah.
Yeah. And therefore, the more people that you can obviously get in, happiness for you.
Yeah. And you were asking me earlier, like how can I scale it? So the peer coaching circles, the one that I mentioned, the internal. Yeah. So the model there is where, for example, those people that I was with this morning, there's 11 of them. Earlier in the year, 6 of them volunteered to train up as facilitators, and so they're just starting up their own groups now internally. So it's basically train the trainer. It's kind of like a pyramid model. And I have that going in another medtech company as well, who I called to yesterday to talk to the CEO and see how things were going there.
Where does it all end? Because if you Para 7777, eventually, are you going to sit on some golden throne somewhere and orchestrate it, or?
Well, yeah, it does require orchestration and it requires support. You can't, just leave it. But where does it go? My own sort of ambition is that it's available to every business owner in the world. That's my ambition. So that's why I went down.
I love that. Yeah.
And, there's a bigger part to that than it sounds. So, that's making it affordable for every business owner in the world. So there'll be some business owners that can afford a lot less.
But fellas in Thailand, fellas in Australia, you're not going to be sitting there beside, maybe you might be, but...
No, I won't be, but the internet is. And, so I was online before the pandemic. And so when the pandemic hit, I was able to swap everybody over to online, seamlessly, because I had developed the model there. So, the internet, like any other business, is the way to scale it.
Two final questions. One, and they have to be brief, unfortunately. The family element of it. What does that actually do, or what does it address?
So, the context is their own immediate family. So maybe, their husband or wife and the kids, and then their blood family, their siblings. So it's just literally looking at that and trying to keep that in a healthy situation. So an example would be a group we're in last week. There's a guy and he's got quite a lot of siblings, big family, and one of the things that he's kind of doing within that family is he's trying to, I suppose, reduce the culture of alcohol in that family. So it's just looking after your family and being present and attending to it, because a lot of business owners focus too much on the business and not enough on the family and self.
I think you are going to have to come back, because I think there's the makings of a very long interview in this. Final question that we ask all our interviewees is, who would Barry Walsh hire in a heartbeat? And this is going to be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, I came across a guy called Adrian Corbett. I don't know if you know him from Wayflyer earlier in the year.
Not yet, but I would like to have him on.
Do. He's really, really interesting. So I had heard him in another podcast and I was blown away. I was blown away with his generosity. But
you listen to other?
Yeah, would you believe I do listen to other podcasts. But he, I suppose the way he has scaled his business on the internet, he would be a very useful guy for me, because he probably have all the skills that I don't have that would be able to really make it take off online.
Well, now, you, unlike others, are wise, because you have actually chosen somebody who's going to help your business. So that's the power of Wayflyer and Mr. Adrian Corbett. Barry, you will come back, will you?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Barry Walsh. Power of 7. Thank you for joining us on That Great Business Show. And that is it from That Great Business Show, episode 115. Please do make sure to press the share button on LinkedIn, and do it now. Send the link on WhatsApp to your pals in business. They'll be so impressed with your listening choice. Your business should also advertise with us. Give me a shout on LinkedIn if you would like to know more. We record right here, right now at the Dublin South Podcast Studios. Our own lovely Lee is sound engineer Lee Brennan. Later, Neil Hornan will add that extra sparkle to us in post-production. All that attention to detail is why we sound so much better than other podcasts. And if you would like to record a podcast, do contact Peter Rice at the Dublin South Podcast Studios here. He is the manager, and he'll have a chat with you. Our colleagues at the Fifth Court podcast, Mark Tottenham and Peter Leonard, are doing incredible things and are back up to the top of the Irish charts with episode 8 of their legal podcast, this time featuring Supreme Court Judge Gerard Hogan, talking about the Civil War shooting of Erskine Childers. Law comes in many forms. We're very close to launching a third podcast, details to follow, as they say. And if you would like us to produce a podcast for you, do have a chat with us. We bring podcast to another level. All of our great business insights and tips are brought to you, as always, thanks to our sponsor, Facto Shaving Oil, the world's best all-natural shaving oil. They back us, please back them. DeFactoShave.com will get them. And do not forget to buy Business Plus magazine, where we now have that regular column. So that is it from me, Conal O'Moran. Míle buchas for listening, agus slán tamil.